Okay, I'm going to start because I want to. So this session here is Work Smart, Not Hard, digital supercharge your digital workflow. Basically, when I designed this workshop, it was for people that are doing dual roles. They've got their personal lives and their work lives. So if you're an expat and you're not doing anything, this may not appeal as much to you. But for the rest of us that are still doing some kind of work in that, there'll be some extra functionalities that I'm sure you're going to be able to take advantage of. As I mentioned before, this QR code here, I'm just going to give you a bigger version of it. 1 second. The QR code here, if you want to grab a shot of that, or there's the URL, that'll take you to the document that I'm going to be working from. So if I start going a little too fast and you're not understanding, I'm recording this. I'm also going to have the document that you can link back to that's got links to all the different resources and stuff. Okay. If Portuguese isn't your first language, if you want, you can scan this QR code in and it will open up to a Microsoft Translate website. And each of you can choose your own language that you want displayed on your phone. This is a great tool that we'll talk about a little later on, but you can have 100 people connect at the same time and they all can pick different languages. So it's not just a one case thing. So last year I was doing some work with TEDx Madeira, and they were saying, like, you know, we've got these people and we have some of our presenters are in Portuguese, some are in English. And I said, you need to try this out. So at the time we had 52 people connect. They were speaking Portuguese. There was English for me. There was German, my buddy, Ukrainian, Polish, a couple of French, some Italians, all of them getting live translation. And we'll talk about that too a little later. My name's Trevor Beck. I am a former Google for Education certified trainer. I was a technology trainer at a university in Canada for over 30 years. I've done Microsoft, Google, WebEx, Apple, all sorts of stuff. I've been retired for about 3 years. And during that time, I've been living here and I've been working with nonprofits on the island here and still back in Canada. The stuff that I do is working with people, organizations on how to take advantage of the Google suite of tools. Most of you probably are using Gmail and the documents and stuff that come with that. If you use the Google for Nonprofits tools, you get a whole whack more availability of tools. You get some extra features and stuff like that. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So, quick survey. For the work that you do on a day-to-day basis, how many of you are using Microsoft? Excellent. How many of you are using Google? How many are using Apple? Apple? Okay, excellent. How many of you are using AI, but not just to do web searches, to actually create stuff? Some of you are? Great, excellent. Anyone play with Gemini's new Nano Banana? Whoa, there's a time waster. Very cool tool, but oh my God, it'll suck up your afternoon. How many, when you're doing group work, are using shared drives in Google? Not shared folders, but shared drives. Okay. How many are using SharePoint in Microsoft land? Some, excellent. And who cares about what Apple's doing? How many of you are working or are part of nonprofit organization? None of you. Okay. Just as a quick information then, Google, whoops, go back. That's not what I asked for. Google has a program called Google for Nonprofits that gives you extra features in these areas. So Google Workspace, Google Ad Grants, Google Maps, Google YouTube. Most people make use of Google Workspace, and that's where I do a lot of the working, is showing people how to take advantage of those extra features you get. But a really important thing I always like to highlight is, if you are a qualified organization, you get $10,000 US a month in free AdWords advertising. That's the text AdWords. So $10,000. If you don't know anything about how to use AdWords, you still have $10,000 to play with. Okay. So if you know of any nonprofits, this is something that should be on their radar. If nothing else, even for the AdWords. Even if they're already using Microsoft, And because Microsoft also has nonprofit a program, so they get all the Microsoft tools for free. You can still take advantage of the that piece there. So here's my agenda. I'm going to just quickly go through some best practices. Then we're going to talk about the browser. We all live in the browsers, but there's some really cool features in the browser that a lot of people aren't aware of that is just really slick stuff. We'll talk about some other services, web services and web apps, and then we'll briefly talk about some AI apps. I'm not going to go into deep into the AI. How many of you are like AI fanatics and spend all your life in AI? Okay, I'm not doing that. I am not on that level. But there's a lot of people that have no idea where to start, and they hear the word build a prompt and stuff. So I'm just going to share with you 4 prompts and give you some examples on how you can use them and then how you can take off from there. Because I think for a lot of people, that's the starting point for them. Like, what do I do? I love technology. I get excited by technology, so I start talking fast. So if I'm doing that and I'm talking too fast for you, please say, hey, Trevor, can you slow things down? We can't understand you. Okay, excellent. One year I was teaching, I had a review, and one of the students said, Trevor drools, but he talks technology. So it's about as exciting as I can get. Oh, hang on, let me just grab these 2 people in. Okay, so so let's get started. So we're going to start off with that document that I gave you guys a QR code for. Those of you that just arrived, pull up your cameras really quickly, and I'll bring it up again for you. Can you guys, whoops, not this one. Can you guys scan that one in and link to it real quick? And that's the document that I'm working on. In 3, 2, 1. Hope you took a picture. Okay, so this is the document you're all going to have. I've got some contact information if you want. If you're into forms and Google Forms and Sheets, I'm a Google Sheet freak and Forms freak. So if you want, I've got a whole whack of tutorials and stuff on my YouTube channel. I've got a bunch of Microsoft stuff on YouTube channel. I recommend taking a look at that. I also have an archived version of this video that I've done in the past. So if you want to hand this document around to other people, they can click on the link and see one of my old versions of it. After this session, assuming the recording part works out properly, I'll have a recording of this session, and then I'll share that with you guys in a couple of days. Okay, so best practices. I'm just going to quickly go over these. The first one's actually a pet peeve. There's only 1 space after a period. I don't care what anyone tells you. The days of 2 spaces after a period are from typing on an actual typewriter. If you want to argue about that, I'm more than happy to entertain you after the session because I love that one. But that's something that as we get into word processing, you should spend more time making sure you correct that. A lot of times we are either the company or organization we're in Google or we're in Microsoft. And then we have to work with someone in the other universe. So if I'm in Google, I often will get someone saying, hey, can we work on this Microsoft document? You do not have to create a second email account. You can keep this one email account. So you don't need to have a Trevor@Gmail and Trevor@Outlook account. You can use the same. And when you go in, whoops, let me skip back to where we're supposed to be. So when you go into these accounts the first time, it's going to prompt you. Google says, do you want me to create a Gmail address or do you want to use your existing email? Microsoft's actually a little smarter. It says, show me your existing email, and then, oh, if you don't have one, we'll create a new email address for you. Basically, you're signing up for a membership of the club. And you're saying, I have our email already. I have a calendar already. I do not want those services. I want to work on files. So when you sign up with these services, that's all you're doing. You're just saying, I already have this stuff. Just give me access to files. A lot of people sign up for both, and it's just a mess watching them try going through and keeping their stuff organized. I used to work in the technology area as a trainer. I used to get hundreds of emails throughout the day. A lot of times it was people saying thanks. I did a favor for them, then they come back with thanks. So in my email, I would have 30 or 40 messages that all they said was thanks. Do yourself and everyone else in the world a favor. When you make a request, put in advance thanks at the bottom. What this does is a couple of things. First of all, it ensures you don't have to get your email box filled up with useless thank yous. It also means you don't have to remember to say thank you. So for example, in this email, I'm doing some work with Anastasia over at my Madeira Island. I said, hey, can you set up the classroom? In advance, thanks. She sends a message back saying, it's done. That's it. I don't have to reply anymore. Notice the subject line. The subject line is clear. When you've got all these emails coming at you, having a clear subject line makes it a lot easier for a person to go through and decide, do I need to address this email now or can I wait till later? So I would often get emails that would just say Google, Microsoft, microphone. What the heck does that mean? If I have something in there that gives me a little bit more information, I can decide whether I need to respond to it now or later. Same thing happens when we're talking about creating calendar events or invitations. I want to make sure my subject line here is clear because that also gets used in the email. And this allows me, when I look at this, to go, okay, he's having trouble with his camera. I know he's had trouble before. I'll bring some extra cables to our meeting or whatever. This way I can come prepared. In fact, when I do my my invitations, I put in complete details. What's the problem? I also put in the a list of like a mini agenda of what's going on so that we know what we're going to cover during that 1 hour or 30-minute time that I've got set up. Some of this might be pretty much standard for a lot of you, but it's surprising how many people don't look into this or don't practice this. You share documents when you want to gather information, especially when you're sending an email out to a large group and you want to say, what do you think? If I say, what do you think? You guys are all going to send me back emails. What do you think we should do for lunch today? And I'm going to get a bunch of emails. Or what should we bring for lunch? Better yet, if I create a shared document, Microsoft, Google, whatever, we all work on that same document. And the nice thing is that we can see what's in that document. So for example, here's a department retreat. I've said, guys, can you all pitch in and say what you want, some suggestions that you want for dinner, for breakfast, for lunch. The nice thing about this is everyone sees coffee's already been captured. So I'm not going to get any emails that are going to say coffee. Because if I send emails out, guaranteed 90% of you are going to say coffee, 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 coffee. This just makes it a lot easier, and it's all gathered together in one source. Don't ask if someone's available. Send them a calendar invitation, especially if you work in an organization where you're sharing calendars. Back in the old days, when I needed to call someone, I had no idea if they were home or not. I would just make a phone call. And if they picked up, great. And if they didn't pick up, they weren't there. Same thing today. If I want to make an appointment with you and I can see your calendar's free, don't message and say, I see you're free at 10. Can we meet? No, just go ahead and invite because they have two choices. Accept it or not accept it. Am I going too fast or is this at okay speed? Okay. Forms. Forms are so powerful because not only does it allow us, no, let the puppy come to me. Not only do forms allow us to gather information, but allows us to go in and say, hey, this is a piece of information that's mandatory. So I've seen this. So this is there's a group here, the Madeira Now group, and they do these dinners. And every time they do these dinners, they go in and they send an email out. Well, here's what's going to happen. I can guarantee it. They send it out. 100 people reply. They say in the email, hey, you guys, make sure that you tell us what you want for breakfast, or sorry, what you want for a starter, for a main, for dessert. And there's some people in there that only give you 2 of the 3 pieces of information that you need. And now you're wasting time going, no, you didn't give it all to me, et cetera, et cetera. Well, with forms, there's a form to fill out. There's all the fields. So here we can see there's the email, which I'm going to need. A starter, they have to choose one. A main meal choice, they have to choose one. A dessert, they have to choose one. And when they fill out the form, because it's all mandatory, it all gets entered into a spreadsheet. Now, a lot of people don't like spreadsheets. And I understand if you're financially afraid of numbers, because I don't like numbers in a spreadsheet. But data rocks. So here I can quickly see that Jazz is going to have a green salad for a starter. He's going to have a steak. He's going to have a dessert. I've captured that information. I'm going to get complete. Notice there's no blanks here because everything's mandatory. But here's the cool part. With just a little bit of formula, nothing high end, easy to learn. I've got a video that will, like in 10 minutes, will show you how to set this up. This is automatically counting everything as stuff gets entered. So as people are entering their stuff in, I don't have to go copy, paste, count the number, and then contact the chef. This does it for me automatically. And so now I can send that to the chef and everything's done. And I have not done copy paste once. I don't waste any more time once it's set up. And when you have this, something like this in place, it's rinse and repeat. Anyone use Forms, Microsoft or Google? Some? Okay. And for those of you, I'm sure most of you know this, but when you're designing stuff, design for mobile first, because more and more people, especially you younger people, us old farts, are still stuck on our laptops and stuff, but a lot of people are still working on their mobile devices. Mobile first means fonts are a minimum of 16 pixel in size. You'll notice a lot of the new tech websites and stuff have the big fonts now. That's because of the high resolution screens that we have here. When you can avoid using tables, they don't work well on a mobile device. And PDFs, if you can avoid them at all, PDFs suck because you get the PDF, you have to zoom in to read it, and then you have to go like this, and you get to the end, then you have to go back to the beginning, and then you go, screw it, I'll read it later. So where you can, I mean, even a Google Doc or a Microsoft Doc that is set up for as a web page will be an easier read than going through trying to do a PDF. All right, that's my little blurb on best practices. Any questions? Sure.
Registration of Microsoft cannot use corporate.
Sorry?
Register Microsoft from corporate email address.
I honestly don't know. We should, because so you're saying if I have a corporate Microsoft account, can I use a personal Gmail? Yeah.
I would like to share something for that. I integrate
Okay, so yeah, so part of it is the SharePoint site, if I'm understanding what you're correctly. It's not that I can't create a Google or a Google account with my Microsoft email. You're saying that you've got to
create Microsoft with the corporate.
Yeah, okay. It depends on how the SharePoint site is set up. And usually what's happened is that they have to invite you to be part of a team. So when you look at the SharePoint site, they're part of a team. But let's say that we're all a team and we want to share with somebody externally. I'm not going to add them into my team because now they get access to everything. And that's where the challenge comes from. I suspect that's it. And it could also be however the administrators have set things up. So the organization may say, we're not sharing externally. The university that I worked at, they had these silly things like after 30 days, the file you shared suddenly gets locked down. It's like, I'm on a project for 6 months, like 30 days doesn't help me. So it just depends on the company. Any other questions? Sure.
Yeah, lazy and opening the forms or storage, something like that, because I recognize there's a lot in my trainings that people don't read the story before on email because they are on vacation or whatever. There's any reason? Do you have any good approach to take it on board?
So you're saying, how can we force them to fill out the form? Well, if you want something from me, if you want it badly enough, you'll fill out the form. Really. The problem that a lot of people do with forms is they make the form your landing page as well. So it's a big, long piece of text and graphics and blah, blah, blah. It's not a web page. It should never be a web page. You should have a web page that's designed to be read and visual. And then it should say, if you're interested in this, click on the form. Right? It's the same thing when you go to the doctor. You're not getting the whole spiel of the doctor. He's got a brochure there. You just have to fill out the form. So, but I mean, ultimately, you can't force anyone, right? But in the end, you just say, well, if you don't fill it out, you don't get the stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's move along. So I'm going to talk about the browser now. Specifically, I'm working in Google Chrome, but Firefox, Microsoft Edge, I think Omni, they're all based on Chromium, which is the engine that Google Chrome does. It's just they've put on different lipstick, but the functionality for the most part is still there. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to cover here is going to be in there. It might be a different name, but for the most part, it should all be the same stuff. Anyone here using profiles now? Oh, okay. This is the awesome part. When you're working in Google on a browser, you can click up here and I can switch in and bring up a web page that allows me to be logged in as somebody else on a Google account. The problem with that is you only have the same bookmarks. You don't have different bookmarks. So when I've got my personal accounts and my work accounts, I don't want those bookmarks mixing because there's no point for my bookmarks, which are all about advertising and public relations that I did, mixing in with my I like to drone and camping bookmarks, right? And I have different preferences and stuff like that. And I have different places to store files. Google Drive for my work, Google Drive for personal. Profiles is a tool that allows you to log in as different accounts. So for example, right now I'm logged in as Jazz, my dog. Jazz has got this account here, but look at this. I'm going to switch over to here. This account is my work or my school account. Two different accounts. Look at this here. The bookmarks are totally different than these bookmarks here. And it applies to extensions. It applies to all sorts of settings and preferences and stuff. And as a web developer, it's handy to have all these because you have all these different situations that you're dealing with. Is this person logged in with this? Does this person have these settings or whatever? So I actually had a list of like 15 different profiles to choose from. And so when I click on here, you can see some of my profiles here now. I've got Barney, I've got person one, I've got Trevor, which is my personal account. I got Trevor as logged in with a Microsoft account, a different Google account, my Madeira Island account, my retired account that I'm working on. So these all have different preferences and stuff. So I'm going to go down here where it says add Chrome profile. And I'm going to sign in. Can you guys see that okay, or try and make it a bit bigger? So first step is sign in with a new profile. So if I've been using my work information, I'm going to now create a new one for my personal. So I'm not creating a new email or anything. That's already been created. I'm just creating a new interface, if we so to say. So I'm going to log in here as Clark Kent. This is on my training site. Well, Clark Kent G train. Oh, there we go. Too many T's. There we go. Wow, this just started to suck really quickly. It was so impressive there. Okay, I'm going to come back to this in a bit. We'll take a break a little later. But the point I want to show you, imagine if you will, I get the opportunity to have all these new different information, the bookmarks, the titles and stuff. Let me see if I can pull Barney up here as an example. So here's Barney. So again, I've got all these different bookmarks and stuff. I've got Barney. I can log into Google Drive as Barney, and I can quickly switch between all these different profiles. I don't have to worry about doing that Google switch thing and losing my bookmarks. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Sorry, I wish that was supposed to work. Let's move along. I will have to come back because there is a point that I need to make use of that. But in the meantime, we'll just motor on here. So that's changing that's Google Chrome. There's a video there on profiles, and it just goes into more depth of how you can customize your profiles and make it work for you. Highly recommend you take a look at that. So how many of you ever done this? Where you sit there and you start closing tabs like crazy, close, 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 and then you go, oh shoot, I didn't want to close that one. On the Mac, Command-Shift-T on Windows, Control-Shift-T will allow you to undo that closed tab. And in fact, if you keep doing it, it'll just go through all the history of all the tabs that you've closed behind. I can also search through tabs. How many of you, like me, have multiple windows with multiple tabs? Yeah, I have easily 15 windows and 20 tabs on each window, easily. So trying to find stuff gets difficult. You start doing that whole control or command tilde, trying to shift through the screens and find them. But up in the top right-hand corner, there is a search that will search through all your currently open tabs. So I'm just to type in the word now, and it automatically will jump to that tab. Doesn't matter if it's on a different window, as long as it's still in that same account, it'll jump to those tabs. So this is a very handy function feature that is available to you. Anyone ever have videos playing in the background? I have no idea where it is. Yeah, we've all done that. Just as an FYI, there is an extension that you can get that'll stop that video startups. Okay. So, did you guys get the whole Rickroll thing in Europe at all? Some of you? No? Okay, anyways. So this video pops up. I have no idea where it is. Anytime that we have videos running, in the top corner here, right beside my profile picture, I actually have a controller, a media controller. And when I click on it, it's going to show me all the videos that are currently running. I can pause it. I can click on it, and it'll take me right to that video. So for those of us that do this, because I look at videos, tutorials, and stuff like that, so I'm always have like 10 of them running. I can quickly, when I start up, go pause, 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 pause. Makes my life easier. In YouTube, they've got the captions here. We've all have them, but a lot of people don't know that you can actually translate a lot of those captions. Okay. Now this is a YouTube function. I'm going to turn this off for a sec. But Chrome itself, the browser, has its own function. So if I go back up to that media player, actually, I'll get up there in a second. So here's the closed captioning. I'll turn it on. I'll let Rick play here. There you can see this little screen here. That's coming from YouTube. Chrome does the same thing. Up top here, I can turn on live captions. But instead of being just down here, watch what happens. Sometimes it takes a second. There we go. I get a big screen that shows up. Now this works for any media that you play inside Chrome. So whether it's audio, MP3s, YouTube videos, Vimeo, all those things, you can do this. What's also cool though is I can go in and again, I can pick a different language. Let's go with, whoops, so let's do Bosnian. Now, because it's a video and it's music singing, you're not going to get, it doesn't work quite as well, but you can see it's starting here. It's trying to work with that. So depending on the language that you're choosing, you might have more success. But this is great. I did some training with a group last month, and they were all from Germany. And I was looking at their website to do some preparation for it, and they had a whole bunch of videos on it. I have no idea what they were about, but I was able to use this function to actually watch the videos and get a little breakdown and get an understanding of what they're doing. Whoops, let me turn that off again. You guys super hot over there? No? Okay. Just the cold weather Canadians suffering here. That's fine. So copy a link to highlight. Quite often when we have a piece of information that we want someone to read, we will say, hey, you can find the information on this web page over here. So we send them the URL, scroll down half a way, you can find it. We might copy and paste that text and put it into a message and send it off to them. Copy link to highlight does something better. It actually will take you to the specific spot that you choose on a page. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Notice here, I went to this Madeira Wikipedia page and it scrolled down and it highlighted Funchal comprises 10 civil parishes. So I can go and pick a point in the text here and make that my target. I'm going to go down to here. I'm going to highlight this piece of text here. When you go and right click Instead of copy, you're going to look for this thing that says copy link to highlight. That's what you want. I'm going to go over to here. And so I can take this, I can send the link, I can add it into a Google Doc or whatever as a reference piece, but it's going to take you right to that page, right to that section there. No more hunting around. This is handy when you're dealing with your parent that is not tech savvy, okay? Because she does not listen to me, whatever. So this will make your life a little bit easier. Google Lens is a function that those of you on Android are quite familiar with. Google Lens is kind of buried on the iPhone, but it's also now available on a browser. I'm going to go back over to here, and they made some changes to it just recently. It used to be an icon on the right, but now that's got Ask Google about this page. I can highlight it, and Google, the Lens. I'm just going to select this picture here because I want more information about this. And then we get our AI overview, which we'll talk about that a little later. But everywhere that it seems to think that we've got that same picture that was used. Whoops. So we can see here, this picture was used in this Live the World. It was used in this website here. And they got some other information there as well. You can select text as well. If the text is in an image, so right now, if I select this, it's selecting text, no big deal. However, if that text was part of the image here, so if this wasn't text, but it was actually part of the image, you should be able to copy that text as well. So, for example, when there are festivals around, quite often you'll get a graphic of some sort, a GIF or whatever, of the poster. And if you want to grab that information that's on it, because of the way it's set up, it's all part of the artwork. You can use something like this to grab that text to copy and paste it into a document or a message or something. Make sense? Sure. I haven't tried it with a PDF. Let's just do that real quick. I happen to have one handy. It should, though, you would think. Yeah, I got logged out. Stop doing that. See if it'll let me do. Come on, there we are. Let's see what happens on the desktop. Somewhere I have a PDF in there. Let's use this Neo contract. Come on, my fingers are getting a little humid. Okay, so this is a PDF, but let's see if it'll work. I'm going to say not a PDF. Looks, oh, there it is. Yep, copy text. Just took a little while. So there you go. I don't know about multiple pages. That's something different. There are other ways. Quite frankly, you could bring a PDF into Google Drive, and then you could say open it with a Google Doc, and it will convert it to text. That's probably an easier way. Or, I mean, hey, we can all load everything up to like ChatGPT or Gemini and get the whole page translated and whatever. Any other questions? All right. Custom search engines. Google, we're all familiar with using the, up here you type in, you can go and type in whatever you want. But I can also put in other search engines in here if I wanted to. Let me just see what I have set up here, if that works. Give me 2 seconds and I'll show you the demo first and then I'll come back. Just ignore what I'm doing for now and nope. Okay, let's do this the easy way then. I'm gonna go to rtp.pt. So RTP, Radio Television Portugal. There's the website here. I'm going to search for something. Oh, I hate their website. I'm going to search for seal. I'm interested in finding a seal. So it shows me here that there's a seal. I'm going to take that. They've changed their websites recently. Why did you do that? Let's give it a shot. So let me demonstrate it first, just so it makes more sense. And then we'll break it down. Goodness. Okay, so look at the top of the screen here. Normally, if I wanted to go to RTP to search something, I would have to go to their website like you saw me do before. I have to go find their search function, type in whatever I want to search, and then get my results. However, I can actually just do this. And it skips those first couple of steps and goes right to the search results. You can do this with any website that has a search function in it. It allows you to go through and skip all those steps and go right into what you want to search on. And I mean, we all have websites that we're constantly searching, doing our research on and stuff like that. Rather than having those 3 steps ahead of time of going to the website, blah, 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 this is a fast and handy way of getting things done. So let me show how it's done. I'm going to go and pull up Madeira Weekly. Madeira Weekly. I think it's .pt. No, all right. Let's try it again. MadeiraWeekly.com. Okay, so there's a search function here. I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to search for seal as well. So the key thing we want is take a look at this URL up here. If the search query that you type in shows up there, then you can create a custom search engine. So I'm going to copy this whole URL here, and I'm going to go back into my settings. So when I go into my settings for Chrome, we're going to go to search engine. Google's the default one, but there's a link here that says manage search engine and site search. And there's ones that automatically are set up, but we're going to create our own here. So I'm going to add a new site. So the name of the site is Madeira Weekly. So I'm going to type it in Madeira Weekly. Now this is just a label. This shows up at the top there, so you know what you're searching. So I put a smiley face in there as well, just so we can see it. The shortcut is what is the 3 keys that you're going to, or 4 keys, whatever you want, that you're going to type in and then hit tab. That automatically tells the browser, I want to search this website. So I'm just going to put in MadW. That means Mad Weekly. And then my URL. Notice it says here, with the URL, replace your query with %s. All right, let's close that window. I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to type in MADW and then hit, because that's my shortcut. I hit tab. And we can see by the URL at the top there that there's my label with the Madeira Weekly with a smiley face. Now I can type in seal, and it takes me there. RTP, oops, RTP. Come on, Trevor, start typing. Seal. So you can take all these websites that you use on a daily basis, power them in there. So then all you have to do is go, open new tab. So Control T, it automatically shows up. Type in your search, get the information, close the tab, you're done. You're not wasting time going in there. What's one place that we go a lot? Google Drive, right? So let me pop over there. So I'm going to go and use the search function. And I'm going to look, I don't know if it'll work here because this is not the account I wanted. But I'm looking for the word kitty. All right, so there's a bunch of stuff here that have the word kitty in it. Okay, it could be the title, it could be whatever I want. Notice over the side here, there's all these other extra filters that we can do. So at the university, where I still have access to a lot of like tens of thousands of files still, I could put in the word kitty. I'm going to get hundreds and hundreds of documents, spreadsheets, PDFs, Word documents, movies, videos, whatever, everything in. It'd be great if I could filter down because I know I want a spreadsheet. Well, I can go into here and just say, give me a spreadsheet. And it'll do that. So take a look at the URL up here. This here URL, I can easily use that as part of those search functions. This particular one says search all of Google Drive and look for a type called spreadsheet. If I just want Google Drive, I would just do this one there. So let me just start with that. Come on. Oops, wait a second. Don't have it. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to add a new one here. So my label is called G Drive. My shortcut is just Drive. There's the URL with Kitty. I'm going to write a spreadsheet there at the end because I want it to search the whole Google Drive. And I'll add that in there. And I'm going to add another one, which is called G Sheets. Shortcut is Sheets. This time it's going to be the spreadsheet, and I'm going to put in my %S here. I didn't put %S on the last one, did I? Oh. Google Drive. Yeah, that would have been impressive. %S. Right, new tab, Drive, Drive, tab, Kitty. Okay, great. You know what? I want spreadsheets, so I could easily just hit Control L, which highlights what my current tab, and I can type in Sheets, Kitty. Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, anything, any page that you use a lot of time, you can use these custom search engines. Questions on that? Okay, what's the cool factor on that? Like a 5 out of 5, a 3 out of 5? Don't talk to me, Trevor. Okay, we'll stick with that. All right. Amazon. I use Amazon all the time, so it's nice to, and for me, I switch between my Canadian Amazon account, the German Amazon account, and the Spanish Amazon account. So I can quickly go amaz.de, search for the German site, then do the same search over in the Spanish side, and then when I need to, search the Canadian sites. So lots of different things. Google Sheets, you can set up a search for Google Chat, or sorry, not Google Chat. Well, that too. You can do it for Gemini as well as for ChatGPT. So anything that's got a search function, you can create the custom search engine. Questions on any of that? That's our browser sup. Did anyone learn anything? Okay, cool. As long as I'm not wasting your time or mine. How many people start the morning off going hitting a whole whack of news sites? Technology, news, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you're wasting. I used to have a folder, and I would say open folder, and whatever bookmarks I would have would suddenly open up into 1,000 different tabs and stuff, which is why I would have so many windows with so many tabs. And then I would do the same thing about 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I want to keep up to date with what's going on. Wouldn't it be better if we could find a way where that information comes to us instead? And not by email, because that just takes, that's just useless. Feedly is what they call a news reader. It's based on an old technology called RSS. Really simple, well, that's the word, thank you, syndication. So basically what it says is, as I have new news, I'm going to send out a message to let you know if there's new news if you want to come read it. So what happens here with Feedly is I basically enter in all the websites that I want, and it will go check the websites for me every half hour, every hour, depends on what the website sets up. But it checks for new data, and then it comes back and says, "Hey, here are all these new different articles." So I cleared this stuff out on Monday. No, today's Monday, so probably Saturday night, Sunday. And so I have all these new articles. I'm going to start off with to show you. So here in the Madeira News side of things, I've got 14 in this folder here of Madeira News stuff. There's 14 news stories that have been posted. So there's Madeira Weekly. We talked about it. And what it's doing is it's showing me the last set of stories since the last time I looked at it. So here, the latest story is poor visibility, then housing estates, then 5 tourists rescued, then Karis. Well, look what happens if I go to their website. Same stories, poor visibility, housing, tourists rescued, Karis. So it's the same information. The nice thing is I don't have to go to the website. That information comes here. I can click on this. Depending how the user has, the end user has gone and set up their website, I might be able to read the story right here. So that's great. I don't even have to leave my Feedly feed. There's the story there. Sometimes when I look at the story, and if it's one I'm interested in, I click on it and it opens up, it might open up a new tab. Here, I get like a very kind of a repeat of the stuff. So I can click on here, go away. I can click up here or I can click at the bottom. Go away. Why? We went through all this stuff 2 days ago. And it'll take me to that story. But it's only the story I'm interested, not all the stories. When I'm done, what I can do is I'm going to click here, and this shows me all the news stories from Madeira. They're all in chronological order, 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago, 5 hours, 7 hours. Notice it's mix and match of the sources. Original Madeira Island News. Here's Times of Madeira. It's all just based on chronology, based on the time it went up. So most recent at the top. What I can do is if I scan through this and I go, yeah, I've read the ones that I'm interested in, I just click this check mark saying I've read them all. And basically we start at 0. So anytime any news stories get posted starting now, they'll show up here. Make sense? Okay. As a guy that like spends my mornings like an hour reading stuff, this saved me so much time because I can pick and choose what I want. Custom Pod, just as an aside, it's an iPhone app. I think it might be available on the Google Store. It basically does the same thing, but it creates audio podcasts for you. So you can have it generate 5 different websites or whatever you want. Excuse me. It creates a podcast and of the news using some AI and stuff. And then as you're walking to work, you can listen to the latest news. All right. So that's kind of cool. But the problem with that news is you're still having to go out to visit those websites or visit Feedly. What if there's something that happens and I want to be notified right away? Okay, and that's where Google Alerts comes in. Google Alerts is basically saying, hey, we've got all this information that gets indexed by Google all the time. What if there was, if you create an alert, you tell us what you want. Whenever something comes that matches that, we'll send you an email. It can be right away, it can be tomorrow, it can be whatever. So let's take a quick look at what that would look like. Let's say I want to be notified whenever there's a mention of a seal around here. Maybe I'm a seal fanatic. So I want to know anytime there's a seal and it's in Madeira. I don't want seals anywhere else. So I'm going to put in the word and Madeira. Now, quick tip. Whoops, let's build this up a bit. Back in the old days of search engines, there were different ways that you could force the search engine to treat your text. If I put in seal Madeira, I'm going to get back all the web pages that have seal, and all the web pages that have Madeira, and all the web pages that have seal and Madeira. So I'm going to get double the effort. If I do something like this, seal and Madeira, the story's going to have both those words together, not side by side, but together in the same place. So let's take a look. I've entered this in. It says, hey, there's nothing recently that's been done, but let's take a look at some stuff that would have shown up if it applied. So we can see Madeira's monk seal from the Oceanographic magazine. We can see the Department of Justice. Obviously, there's that Madeira and seal, not exactly the same thing. Rarest seal from the Madeira. So you can customize this alert to whatever you want. The best thing is, think of all the stuff that you want to track. Anytime your name gets mentioned, so I've got stuff to do that, or my kids or friends, the organization that I worked at, anytime it got mentioned anywhere, I wanted to know about that. So maybe my competitors, they've got something going on. I want to keep track of that project with that competitor. And what happens is once I set those filters up, I can choose these other selections. Do you want it just once a day, once a week, as it happens? I don't care about me. Once a day is enough. But if my competitor is doing something, maybe I want to know right away, because if we're doing social media, we want to put something out there right away to go up against whatever they're posting. Different sources, language, regions, you can filter down on what you want. And then in the end, you can create an alert. You used to be able to. I don't know to how extent you are, but and is a Boolean function. Yeah, it used to do that, but very simple Boolean. But yeah, but and or and stuff should still work. And I can go and create this alert. So now anytime something gets posted that has seal and Madeira in it, I'm going to get a message by it. But take a look at this. delivered to by email or an RSS feed. What uses an RSS feed? Feedly, that thing we were just talking about. So I could put that as a feed instead, have it showing up in there in my morning feeds. Great tool for tracking those news stuff. Oh, sure. So apparently it's just one country. Oh, I could question it, but probably not. I think it just by region it means country. Yeah. But still, it's a lot easier to filter, like when those messages come to your email, it has a headline and a little bit of a description. It's easy if you want, you click on that, it'll go to the actual story. If it's not something you want, you just trash the email and you're done. Yep. What country are you interested in messages or in news from? So I could, the seal in Madeira, sorry? Right. Yeah, if I didn't want German ones, I would just say the region be Portugal. So I'm only interested in Portugal sources. Good point, but I think you can do other languages. Yeah, any language. No, it's because you're going to the original website. Oh, you get a notification through your email. It might be in English. I'm sorry, I haven't tried with other languages. I would love to play around with that. But the email might be in English. But when you click on that link, you're going to the original web page, that wherever it came from, whatever language it was in. I don't know if there's a choice of other languages because my stuff is set, like my Google account and stuff is all English, right? But if you guys play with that and test it and find out, let me know. I would love to know the answer to that. No one's ever asked that before. Good question. Okay. So Google Alerts, where are we for time? 7. We're here till 7:30, right? Okay, let's pick up some speed. So that's Google Alerts. Wouldn't it be great to have your own search engine, right? Because when you do a search with Google, you get everything. And as much as AI is great, it doesn't always give you the right answer. Those AI summaries, when you do a Google search at the top, I don't even pay attention to them half the time because half the time they're crap. That's a technical term, sorry. But you can actually create your own programmable search engine through Google. And basically what you do, I'll just show you an example here. In my other job when I was doing technology, people were coming to me and asking me questions. I have a set number of websites that I trusted back then. There were some Microsoft ones. That's where I go for my answers, some YouTube channels and stuff, some Apple ones, some Google ones, et cetera, et cetera. So you can create a search engine that only searches the websites that you choose, nothing else. So for example, I'm going to go into here and I'm going to look for shared folders. Now I put this in quotations because I don't want the word shared by itself and the word folders by itself showing up. I just want as a phrase shared folders. But I'm going to go ahead and search for that. And this now is searching through Google and Microsoft websites that I've chosen. And it's given me a whole list of stuff here. And it would go on and on and on as we can see. But I know that I'm working with someone that's doing Microsoft. So I've got a filter here I've created. These are only Microsoft results. You can see right there, it says support Microsoft.com. Recipients can only add shared folders, how to review them from mailboxes, all Microsoft. Oh, you know what though? But he's working with an Apple guy. I should find out how to do shared folders with the Apple guy. This is all from Apple support or whatever other websites I've done. And you know, we got a Google guy in here as well. So this is all done straight through this function I've called programmable search engines. There's a video tutorial here on how to set it up, but I'm just going to show you really quickly. When I go to programmablesearchengine.google.com, Why they have such a long one, I don't know. But I'm going to go into here and add. I'll give my search engine a name, whatever it's going to be. And then what are the sites or web pages you want it to use? And that's it. You just keep adding them all in. So for example, there's a group that I was training, they're a marketing team, and they have a number of different websites or competitors that they deal with. So they actually set up search engines like this, one search engine for their competitors. So they could search their competitors to find out whatever they want. The other one was common resources that the team used all the time, that they wanted to make sure we all use these same resources and stuff. And you get basically when you're done, you get a URL that you can make use of, and you can share it with everybody. So there's this URL right here that you can now take and share with your team. And anyone can go into here and they can look for seals. So let's look for our seals. And I'm going to search all these different websites. Now, here's a problem. So I've got a number of Madeira news ones, but I also have the Portugal resident because they do cover Madeira because they're Portugal. But they put out so much stuff. So I said, you know what? I just want only the Madeira news sources, or like I don't want the Portugal guys, so I can see some stuff. And here we go. I've got something here about a monk seal from August 24th. Excuse me, down back in June. Look at different websites and stuff. Allow me to search for that. And then when I want to look at it, I just click on it and it opens up and I get to read the actual document. So think of all the different websites that you search all the time. You can make your own programmable search that will look after that. Rather than having to do one at a time, you can search 10 of them or 15 of them. Questions? All right. Probably not. No, it's going to be open sites and stuff. Yeah, because there's unless back in the old days, you used to be able to put your password in the URL. That it would probably get it to work. But any decent website that's up now isn't going to have that. Anyone remember GeoCities? Adrian and I. It's an old guy joke. Yeah, so something like that. So an old stuff like that. All right. Just looking at the time here, I've got 30 minutes. I want to share this with you. This is a good one. What's.new is a website that Google created that basically said, hey, we have all these web services that we use. Why don't we create shortcuts so we're not always going to the website and doing stuff? So I'll give you an example here. I'm going to open a new tab. I need to do a Google Meet right now. Normally, I would have to go to google.com, click on new meeting, go in, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Here I just do meet.new. It's automatically going to skip all those steps, create a Google meeting for me. There we go. I was trying to come in. And you know what? We're going to have as we're having this meeting right now, you guys, we're going to share ideas and stuff. We should get a new document going. So let's create a new Google Doc. So I'll just type in doc.new and it's going to automatically create a Google Doc and I can start working on it right away. Oh, you know what? I forgot you guys are Microsoft guys. I better do word.new instead. And it's going to go and create a Word document. So there's all these web function or features that are out there that Google said, hey, let's create these shortcuts to it. And I got to find that web page and stuff. There it is. So you can go through here. It's got some examples and stuff, but see all the shortcuts. Come on. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. There you go. So developer tools, if you're into blockchain, CoderPad, all these different websites, business services, different Adobe, add.new, track.new, smarthome.new, productivity, more Adobe stuff. Take a look. It just makes life a lot easier when you don't have to go to the website, go and create the new thing. You can do it right from there. I can do sheets.new, presentation.new, PowerPoint.new, whatever. There's a whole whack of them. I don't actually have to go into SharePoint and OneDrive. Anybody use that now? I thought I saw someone said, nope. Okay. I'm not going to do too much stuff here. How many of you guys do presentations? Some of you? Okay. Let me see if I can get this up in this screen here. This is right now, from what I've read, it's only available in English. So you'd have to set your account to English or just create a brand new account. But one function that's really great is rehearse with coach, because nobody wants to sit and talk to your partners or your kids or whatever and say, hey, can you give me some feedback on my presentation? Rehearse with coach is a function that's free, even in the free version of Microsoft's 365. And what you do is when you go to your slideshow, you can do rehearse with coach. I'm going to pull this open. Oh, this is new. Well, I'm not going to go into it, but I can do body language as well. So what's going to happen is I'm going to start practicing my presentation. They are talking about bringing it out into other languages, but right now it's only available in English. And I'm going to start rehearsing. This little guy down at the bottom here is going to start giving me feedback as I'm doing my presentation. And as I start talking, if I keep going and talk in a monotone, eventually it will tell me that I'm talking in a monotone. And sometimes, when I'm talking, it's going to tell me, I would like to go down the street and to help you. Oh, shoot. Oh, crap. This stuff, this shit. Oh, no, I can't do this. So it's a great tool for public speaking practice. And so it'll go in here, it'll check your pace. It checks, are you just reading the words on this page? Okay, because lots of people when they start off, that's what they do. It's like, why you got all that there? So it'll track all that kind of stuff. It gives you a report. You can see my ums, my no's, my pronunciations, don't use profanity. I would love to run this up on people that like to do like a lot, because it's like, I would go there and and I've seen that, and when the thing kind of like freaks out and goes, stop saying like, but that's great. That gives you that feedback without having to go to your, like I said, your partners or friends or whatever else. It's a good little tool. It's free. Rock and roll. Translations. Where we at? Oh, it's an 8, not a 4. Okay. I want to show Google Translate, because people are always surprised by this. Everyone knows Google Translate, where you take it and you hold up the camera and it translates the stuff that's on the screen and stuff. But you can actually use this function here to upload a file in Portuguese and download it in English, or upload a file in Portuguese and download it in something else, okay? And it gives you the same layout as the PDF or the document that you uploaded. So there's the click here, you would click the documents, you would upload your file. I'm just going to show you some examples of it. There it is here. Come on. So here's my original meal contract. When I moved here, I had no idea what it said. I still have no idea what it says, but you can see it's all in Portuguese, right? Well, I went and uploaded and downloaded through Google. Look at this. It's the same thing, but it's in English. Number 4, number 5, number 7. Even if there's tables in there, it will try its best to go in and keep the layout and stuff. So this is always nice just to have as backup. I mean, you can still use ChatGPT and Gemini and stuff like that, and we'll talk a bit about that in a bit. But ideally, it's still smart to try and get a proper translation of the document, rather than trying to worry about interpretation, which is what those tools do.
Yeah.
So, sorry?
Is that on limit?
I have done 70 pages, so some of the contracts are just silly. So I've been able to convert that much. So I have no idea what the limits are on that. Now, another thing I want to show, though, is with the mobile version of Google. So let me just see. Oops. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Come on. Give it a sec. Quick time. Quick time. I'm going to share my phone camera or my phone here in a second. Not that one. Let's go to Translate. Not me. No one wants to see me. Screen, iPhone 13. Okay. You guys can see my screen here? So I've set up, so for those in the iPhones, the control panel, can't remember what it's called, but on the front home screen, on the lock screen, you can actually put the Google camera right on there. So you don't even have to unlock the screen. It'll automatically go into Google Camera. So we're all familiar with going like this and it translates on the screen like that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you take a picture, so assume that there's like a long document, you take a picture, I could zoom in and look at it, but even better, check this part at the bottom here that says, we can't see it, but it says send to translate home. What it does is it takes it to Google Translate. There's the original in Portuguese. There's the original in English. So I don't have to do the zoom and back and forth and moving stuff. I can take long documents, you know, that you go and post up. I can now read through that through here. I went to the Electric Museum with a friend of mine, and a lot of the stuff there is in Portuguese. Lots of text. So I would use this, and the best part is right there. It'll even speak to me. So the two of us don't have to be reading my stuff. I've got it actually reading to me whatever the text is. It's a great way to use music, to go and do stuff in the museums and stuff. And that's part of the mobile. It's been there for years, but a lot of people just aren't familiar with it. Did anyone know that? Oh, cool. You guys learned something. Excellent. Okay. Microsoft Translate. So remember back a while ago, we were doing this thing here. So this is Microsoft Translator. And what I just happened, Jazz joined the my translation tool. I turned it off. That was silly, Trevor. Okay, imagine if you will, we'll go back to here. I want to do translation for a large group of people. I open up Microsoft Translator. I'm going to just turn this off for now. There's four icons at the, go away. There's four icons at the top here. Okay. This one here is the one that I would use to broadcast or with a group of people. And you can do this, use this, give me a second. In video calls as well. They just have a screen set up off to the one side. But I'm going to start this session here. Oh, I have to do it on the phone. There we go. I started the session here. I've got my DHQXR at the top there. I'm going to go here and join this thing here as Jazz. DHQXR. Jazz speaks German. Very talented dog. And so what's happening now on my screen here, as I'm talking, oops, come on, the microphone's not working. Try again. How about this? Will that work now? There we go. Now it works. So I'm speaking English. It's going to speak English. Jazz is over here. Jazz is listening to in German. You guys can each pick your own language, and it'll do exactly the same thing. So it's great for those conferences and large things that you can do where everyone's going to have their own question. Right now, I've got it set up here, which is just me speaking. If I turn that off, then each of you, if you've downloaded the app, can speak into it in whatever language you want, and it'll translate to English in here for me. So it's a true tool. I actually like Translator better than Google Translate for this kind of stuff. Also up in the top here, I can do things like this piece here where I can start, hang on, what happened? Why is it not sharing my screen? Oh, no. I switched to another screen, it won't show up. Imagine, if you will, though, it's got split screen. So here you can see my screen. One's in English, one's in Portuguese. If I hit this button, if we're sitting across from each other, or as you're talking to a teller, I can put this between us. Oh, now it's working. Okay, great. I can put this between us. The English side is facing me. Portuguese is to the teller. We can carry on a conversation. Because if I stop talking and they start talking in Portuguese, it switches just like that. Google Translate can't do it on the fly that fast. The other one that's really handy is that second one, which is just like this. Basically, it's pick the language and I will translate it in a big screen. So it uses this whole screen. I've gone to 3 conferences that have been in Portuguese, not understood a word that was going on, and used this functionality. So it's great. I can attend conferences. I can figure out what's going on. It works well. There's even a function that once I start this process, here we go. There's even a function that I can actually have it sound in my hearing aids or my earbuds. Audio will come in instead. A little slower. So if the person's going through slides really fast, you're going to be about 2 slides behind. But if I wanted to, I could listen to it instead of reading it. Microsoft Translator, recommend you take a look and explore that. Pardon me? No, it's free. You get 100 seats out of it. I haven't got to 100 yet, but no, it's free. That's it. This is actually the version of PowerPoint that I have access to. Has subtitles in. So PowerPoint, depending on what version you buy, I'm using the university that I worked at. I still have an account there. So that version allows me to have these translation stuff. Depending on what you've purchased, you'll get more features. There's even a better feature than this built in. So the next level up, I think we're an A3, and the A5 level license has another level that does exactly what I just showed you with Microsoft Translator built into PowerPoint. So it shows a QR code, everyone joins, picks their own language, and it's all built into PowerPoint. But you pay for those levels of service, right? Okay. So was that a question? Oh, sorry. I thought it was a question. Okay. All right, I have 10 minutes. We're going to kind of fly through some stuff. I'm just going to highlight one thing. How many people here use Google Meets? Okay. How many people are generating transcripts from those meets? Nope. That's a paid service normally, but Trevor is going to show you. There is an extension you can get called Scribble, S-C-R-I-B-B-L. It basically, when you've got closed captions, it will grab that closed caption. It'll make transcripts for you. Okay. It'll then save them to a Google Doc. So I'm just going to show you a quick example of what that looks like. So this is the Google Doc that it created. There's my transcript of all of us speaking right into there. And it's saved to Google Drive at the end of each meeting. You can, if you get this extension, sign up for this service, you get 14 free sessions a month. If there's 3 of you on your team, you do the first 14, I'll do the second 14, you do the third 14 meeting. So you can get, how come I can't do May? 36? Did I do that right? 32, 42, 42. Oh my gosh. It's 42. Yes. So you can get, there's ways to work around it. Quite frankly, it's like $10 American a month, and it's got AI built into it. So when you're done your meeting, it'll do this. Just give me a sec. There's the same thing. So there's my piece there. I can search the transcript. And then over here, it says, you know what? I noticed you had 3 different topics. And here's what you covered in the first topic. Here's the different points. Here's a second topic. And there's some action items and stuff. So it does a lot of that administrative stuff already here. Now, you can build upon what they've done and update it with a newer version of a custom chat GPT output, because that's what they're using here. And you could get even better resources. But for 10, I think it's $10 a month American. If you do a lot of, and you don't want to take a lot of notes, this is a great tool. There are lots of, yeah, you know what? Speech to text. So are you recording the audio?
No, just speaking.
Right. Well, those are actually built right in. So if you go, I'm just going to use Google because I know exactly where it is. But if I go under tools, there's a tool in here for, where did it go? Sorry, where? Under tools. Am I missing something? Voice typing. That's what I want there. So what's neat about this? Oh, there's revision the site, sure. So I'm going to start talking. And actually, if you ever see me walking around, I'm typically going to be doing this. Come on, start talking. Are you talking now? Come on, start talking. Why aren't you talking? I don't know.
Right.
Well, no, but see, what should happen is as I'm talking, it actually usually starts typing the words and stuff as I'm going along.
No, that was.
Well,
You just.
do you think speaking now is going to do it? I don't think so. It's this one here. Okay, maybe I need to go change some settings. Imagine, if you will, as I talk, words could appear on the screen. And it gets to the point where I can say, this is what I'm talking about, period, new paragraph, bold. John is such an idiot. Stop bolding, parentheses, but he's a really nice guy, close parentheses. Like there's lots of cool stuff that you can do with that. And if you look here, it'll show you all the commands that you can do. Is it going to be 100%? No, it's free. Microsoft, same thing. There's tools available. I'm just going to, okay, no, we're going to quickly do this here. So we're going to talk about AI. First thing I want to know, if it's important, review the sources, review the information, okay? Because it is a stupid idiot all the time. And I'll give you an example. April 19th, how many days has Trump been in president this year? Trump has not been president at all in 2025. Oh, why is that not true? August 11th. August 11th. Same question. How long? Trump has been president, or was president, from January to January 2021. If you're asking how long he currently has been, he has not been for 4 years and 7 months. Now, someone back when I posted about this, they said, "Oh, you're using the wrong ChatGPT example." Well, Joe user is not going to know to switch it. But you know what? ChatGPT 5, which is the latest and greatest version, I shouldn't have to know. Everyone just use it. 8 months later is still putting out wrong information. I had coffee with someone, and then we were talking about requirements, language requirements for people who want to get their citizenship here in Portugal. And this person said to me, "Oh, if you're over 60, I may be, if you're over 60, the language requirements don't count. You don't need language requirements." And I went, "Where did you get that?" "Oh, it was on Google." So I went and did the Google. This was the summary, the AI summary. It knows it all. I went, yeah, I'm calling bullshit on this. I went into it. What it actually says is, if you have a mental disability, or so a mental disability of a certain level, or you're over 60 with a mental disability of another level, then you don't qualify. You don't have to. My wife says I should qualify. I don't think I do. But this is a prime example of you cannot always trust what it says. It's great for things like, how do I hook up my TV to my Xbox or whatever else? It's great for stuff like that. But when it comes to research information, don't trust it. Check out that information. Having said all that, the current AI tools are designed to assist you. We hear that all the time. They're going to be your assistant. They're going to help you out. But I read someone say they're more like an intern. They have some knowledge, but you still have to give them instructions on how to do it, right? Put the boxes over there is different than put the boxes in the corner, but don't block the exit, right? But that's how you deal with an intern, because they have some knowledge. And that's why when we talk about these prompts, ways of talking to these things, they're knowledgeable, but they may not understand what you want. They need full instructions, how to format and stuff, and over time it will learn stuff. So what can you do with it? Well, it can go beyond writing messages. We've seen that. How do I write a message? How do I send an email? Blah, blah, blah. It's great for those step-by-step instruction manuals and stuff. It can analyze documents. So if I've used Google Forms to collect data and they're stored in Google Sheets, I can say to either ChatGPT or Gemini, hey, analyze this spreadsheet. Tell me 5 facts that I won't know. It can translate and summarize documents. As a Canadian I've only been here 2 years, I've learned a few words, but not enough. This is awesome. because I could get these long documents and I can say, translate it, but summarize it. Give me the highlights. Tell me what I should be aware of. And we'll talk about that prompt in a second. My favorite use of these things, write the ending to a movie or a TV series that I don't like. All right? Friends. You guys watch Friends? Anyone watch the ending of Friends? It sucked. It was awful. So I went in and said, rewrite the ending. Anyone here watch Quantum Leap? Oh, it's a sci-fi show. Okay, whatever. But they ended it early. Like, here's the ending. It's a great cliffhanger. And then we're not bringing it back. And I'm like, but what are they going to do? Well, I actually went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, act as a writer for a television series. Oh, give me a break. I'll come back to this later. I had it logged in on the other example. But go in, write the ending. Give me 10 episode series. Because right now season. Right now, a lot of these shows, they come back, they're only for 10 episodes. So I said, take a look at Quantum Leap. There was an old series back in the 80s, and there's a new series now. Take a look at all that stuff. Rewrite the ending. By the ending, I want people from the first series and the second series to meet up and solve this. And I want to make sure that this guy ends with this girl, but don't bring this guy around ever again. Make him lost in a wormhole. And I got the ending I wanted. 10 episodes. It's awesome. What's that? The Game of Thrones. And you can tell exactly what you want. So prompts are, yeah, give him some help. But where is he going with that? So anyone here a Google prompt coder, professional, user? Okay, I'm a user. I am not a professional. I've seen the guys come in here and they sit there and they argue about this, that, and the other thing. That's not me, but I'm going to show you just some easy ones to use. Are you guys okay if we go like 5 or 10 minutes over? Okay. So when you look at these prompts, the instructions for your intern, first thing is, what is the role they're going to play? And the best 3 words you're going to use are act as a travel agent, act as a professional coder, act as a playwright, act as a whatever, because that narrows it down from being generic to being specific. And I'll give you some examples of that in a second. The goal, what do you want them to do? What do you want to accomplish? I want to do such and such. Who's it for? I'm creating a storybook for 5-year-olds. And what format do you want it in? I want some text. I want stuff done in a bullet form. I want stuff done in a table. All that kind of stuff. Because like the intern, if you tell him, go get me write a report, he's going to come back and you're going to go, well, no, I needed it in point form. I needed double spaced. I needed to make sure that we have page numbers on it, blah, blah, blah. Those are the kind of instructions that your AI needs as well. So, and here's a tip. You can use AI to help create your prompts. So you can say, act as an AI prompt specialist. Help me create a prompt. And I've got one that does this. It says, help me create a prompt for traveling in Europe. Here's the stuff that I'm interested in. I don't want to see museums. I don't want swimming pools, but I'm interested in A, B, C, D. And it generated this long ass prompt, but I can use that prompt now anytime I look for travel. And it knows not to give me stuff I don't want. It knows to focus on these unique experiences and stuff. All right, so let me just show you a quick example here. Can I get Gemini up here? Gemini. Oh yeah, I've got Gemini here. I'm just going to use Gemini here just as an example. So Gemini here, I'm going to say, come on. Oh, I'm traveling to London for 7 days. Create an itinerary. London's a fantastic city, blah, blah, blah. So there's some stuff here. Here's my itinerary. Westminster Abbey, House of Parliament. I've seen all this stuff before. Maybe I don't want to see that. Buckingham Palace, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we can see what it's generated here. Now I'm going to go back up. A lot of people don't know you can edit your prompt. So that's not what I want. I need something more. Create an itinerary. So I'm going to go to the very front here. I'm going to say act as act as a London travel specialist. So let's see what looks different here. Oh, the Oyster card, traveling around, because a specialist would be able to tell you, if you're traveling, you should get the Oyster card. Tube etiquette. Now we've gone in a little more detail in some of this stuff here. Okay, that's great. Goes through. Maybe this is similar, but maybe different. But there's still stuff that I don't want there. So this brings us to the first prompt that I've created. You guys can take this, do whatever you want with it, and change it. But I have a prompt that I call clarify. I want you as the AI to clarify any questions you have. So I'm just going to grab this thing here, and I use this one all the time. Where'd it go? Where's my Gemini? Oh, there it is in the end. So going to go back up here, edit this again, create an itinerary. I'm going to add that line in here. Watch this. Here's where the in. Oh, I don't want to test your stuff right now. Wait a second here. I'm just going to go. This one's more helpful. All right. To create the best possible itinerary, I need some more information. Oh, it actually cares. What are your main interests? Do you like history, museums, art, pop culture, whatever? What is your travel pace? Fast, slow, budget? Look how the responses change. So I can go and answer these questions. And what I would do is the way it works, it goes like travel styles. I often will do like one period, and then I'll just say museums or not museums, and then just answer the question short. It knows what you want. And then it'll generate a usable piece of information. This prompt clarify is probably like the best thing you could ever use, because you know that it's going to have questions. Get it to ask you those questions. I think, usually, you know what, it's pretty good because, I mean, here, all we're talking about is history. If I just take those 5 things, it's going to know it's talking about that, not about how are you traveling with anyone, right? So as long as they're in there, I'm kind of anal sometimes. So sometimes I'll do like number 2, number 3, if they're done that way, because sometimes they ask the questions that way. It's like ChatGPT will question it by numbers, so it's easier to answer that way. But you get better results this way. Where are we going? Summarize and provide me with the key takeaways. Be sure to highlight any information I should be aware of. Okay, let me upload a document here. Go to Gemini. I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to upload a PDF here. Upload. Where is it? Give me a second. Upload files. Hello. There we go. I am going to upload an insurance policy. This insurance policy is 70 pages long. This is basically their brochure saying, here's why you should pick us. You think I'm going to read 70 pages? I got better things to do with my time. Okay. Summarize and provide me the key takeaways. Be sure to highlight any trends or information I should be aware of. This works on pretty much web pages, YouTube videos. If there's like a 40-minute YouTube video that you have to watch, you can do this. And each tool, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever, they all have different strengths. So you kind of have to like play with both of them and decide which one works better for you. So here's my takeaway. There's a 10-day refund, eligibility, coverage, existing conditions, exclude activities, et cetera, et cetera. There it is in a short blurb. And then I can also say expand on travel interruption. Again, once you get the answers, you can go in and check to make sure they're right. Okay, but usually something simple like that is pretty good. And there's all our information about travel interruption. You know what? Where I use this, I get blood tests and results from the hospital as a PDF in Portuguese. I have absolutely no idea what it means. but I've run it through ChatGPT using this prompt. And usually, like, be sure to highlight any information I should be aware of. I think I've got some, I expanded to say, you know, anything that's very serious or stuff I want to know right away. And it's pretty good. But again, I mean, I'm not trusting it. But then when I go with my follow-up to the doctor will say X, Y, and Z. And I said, yeah, but the results showed that on my iron is a little low. Could that account for my dizzy spells or whatever it is? And I've had the doctor go, oh, yeah, it could be. So do I trust it? No. To a certain degree, sure. If it doesn't point out anything urgent that I need to go to the doctor, then I'll wait to the next appointment rather than make an appointment tomorrow, right? But it's not a doctor. I'm just going to make sure everyone understands. It's not a doctor. It's not a health professional. It's just to give you an idea. It's better than asking your dog or your mom or whoever else or Facebook. If we do writing, like if we write, I write stories for a newsletter and stuff like that. I will write that up, my story, and then I will put this in the prompt. So I want you to go through and take a look at what I'm writing about. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there a viewpoint that I'm missing? Give me some information, and give me 3 insightful questions an expert might ask me based on what I've written. This is a great way to expand and flush out that story. Transcripts. We talked about different tools that'll do transcripts. I mentioned Scribble. If you paid for those services, you get transcripts. But you can also then take that transcript, paste it in, and add this prompt here. You're in a system that reviews transcripts and meetings and stuff. And I did that. Let's see, did it? Oh, this is the actual transcript. So, but what it actually did is it gave me an overview. It gave me a table with 4 columns or 3 columns. Let's try that. 4 columns. What is the task? When was the date? Who was it assigned to? When does it need to be completed? All from those transcripts and stuff. So there's 4 different prompts you can work with. You can find out so much more, but it's a great starting point for you. Any questions on that? All right. I'm just going to tell you about this other thing. I want you to explore it at your own, that it's really cool. NotebookLM, anyone ever heard of it? Anyone use it? Okay. So what's the advantage of NotebookLM? What's that? I like vodka? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So she's talking when you upload files. So let me go explain about it. The first thing about NotebookLM is instead of using the whole internet as a resource, you upload the specific files that you want it to work on. So only the PDFs, the web pages, the YouTube videos, Google Docs, whatever. That's all it's going to use for reference. It's not going to go beyond that library. So, so if you're doing research, throw it all in there. It's great because I mean, back in the day, as you're doing research, you copy and paste and put a paragraph of this here and a paragraph of that in the document and stuff. Then you got to try to figure out how to organize it and stuff. Notebook can do that because it says, here's all your notes. And I'll say, I want to organize this into 4 different categories. I want you to identify the 4 categories and identify what stories should go in each category. There you go. Book's halfway written. And then you can go and work from that. I have used it, and it's great, is on this committee, one of the committees that I'm on, we've got 2 years worth of minutes. And there's always someone that says, who said that they were going to do X, Y, and Z a year and a half ago? So I've actually gone in and put all the minutes in there and our agendas and stuff. And I can go in and I can say, hey, you know what? Tell me who's responsible for X, Y, and Z. Give me a financial report for the last year. So it's going to take all the financial reports for every month that gets uploaded, but it's going to give me that financial report for the last year. I can ask all sorts of questions, but it basically, all those questions deal with what happened in the minutes, which is a great little tool. It also has some extra functions. Book, LM, I'll go see if I have access to it here. Okay, so I have, do I have an audio view? Okay, yep. So I've uploaded 2 videos that I did on things that as a Canadian are different here for Portuguese rules. Like your roundabouts are different than the way that I learned about it. And then a couple of websites that I've done on that. So I can go in and ask any kind of questions about what lane do I need to be in to exit a roundabout. And it's just going to look through just those pieces and give me an answer. Sure, I thank you for coming. And there's my answer. It says, if you must take the first exit, you must be in the right-hand lane. Cool. There are different reports that I can create. So a briefing document, FAQs, if you need a study for something, you can do all that. They have what's called an audio overview, which basically is a podcast. So let me just turn this on. You can generate the podcast.
Have you ever been there? You're planning that amazing trip, maybe Portugal, picturing driving down the coast. And then it hits you. Wait, how do the roads actually work there? Like the rules, the signs, it can feel like a whole new ball game, right?
Oh, absolutely. That moment of realization.
Exactly. It's a common traveler's dilemma. So today.
Hey, stop her. So it basically is giving you an overview or summary, but audio. There's a new version now that does video overview. So basically it's a slideshow. So again, it's giving you some information, but then it puts the graphics in. It's a slideshow, great kind of stuff. And you can use that just for a quick overview of whatever information you need. Please explore it. There's and look, Google and use Gemini and say, what are some unique uses of NotebookLM? The people are coming up with all sorts of crazy stuff. It's just awesome. All right. Yes. Sorry. What's that? Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so that's oh no, I'll show you one last thing, just because it's so cool. My screener's quick time. We still on my screen? Yeah. So see my screen here. Has anyone played? Whoops, with Gemini, the live voice talking stuff? Okay, so basically, it's the live assistant. As I'm talking, we have conversations back and forth. Quite often, I'll go for a walk, and if I'm bored and I'm lonely, I'll just have a conversation. Let's talk about dogs, cats, whatever. And it will answer questions. But here's the coolest part. The camera there. I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to say, how many people are in this group? Now, she normally is talking. You just can't hear it. So this is a bad example because she won't do it. But I can ask questions based on what she sees in the camera. You want to see what the coolest part of that was? I go shopping. Does anyone know what cornstarch is in Portuguese? Even if you do know what it is, does anyone know where to find it? So I basically have done this a number of times. Come on, open the screen. This is so cool. This is an example of the view that I had that I was with this guy here. Okay. And I said, I'm in the baking area. Where's the cornstarch? And it said the cornstarch is down in the bottom left in the box called blah, 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 whatever it is. It picked it out. I've done that with printer cartridges. I've done it with all sorts of stuff, like anything. I go grocery, you know, there's hot dogs and there's bratwurst. Which are the best brats to get? And you know what that aisle's like. It's huge. But it can go through and tell me what's what. Play with that function. It's so cool. All right, that's it for me, guys. I am going to bring the QR code back up here for you if you didn't catch it. Whoops, there it is. There it is. Any questions on anything I've talked about? Okay, thank you very much for coming. I hope you got something out of it. I'm hoping to do more sessions and stuff. And you know, I don't know, do they do evaluations here at all? All right, well, feel free to email them and say Trevor sucked or whatever you want. But yeah, I'm going to be around for a little while if you want to chat. But other than that, thanks for coming. Okay.